So President Cyril Ramaphosa hasn't had an easy time as leader of the country and of the ruling party, the ANC. He took the reins at the time when political camps within the ANC were at war. The ailing economy has continued contributing to unemployment. Ramaphosa's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic has been both criticized and praised. When you look at last month, daily unrest, that has led to growing calls for him to axe some of his ministers. But the ANC's head of the presidency, Sibongile, Besani, argues that Ramaphosa is slowly but surely steering the country back to a path of growth and prosperity. Let's bring in Sibongile now, who joins us now via Zoom. Sibongile, thank you so much for your time on the lead this afternoon. You're saying that the president is slowly but surely steering the country back to a path of growth. Isn't that happening way too slow?
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having me. Correct. We believe that the president and his collective are working hard to ensure that we are on that trajectory of growth. And of course, you be the judge whether this is slow or what, but we know for a fact that the pandemic, its effect, has actually slowed many of the plans that were actually underway. But be that as it may, we appreciate the fact that, we acknowledge the fact that there's been quite some grappling with issues at hand. If you look at what the president has been dealing with since his period as the president of the country, he has ensured that we work very hard to restore institutional integrity, that we continue to advance the values of the constitution of the country. Of course, the reignition of the economic growth and job creation. He has worked very hard to grapple with that matter. We have not been quite successful in that regard, and the pandemic has dealt a blow to many of these plans, as I said. Most critically also is the fact that at an organizational level, the president has been working hard to ensure that there's unity and renewal.
Yeah. But must we really care about that as South Africans, that the president has also been focusing his attention on ensuring unity in the ANC? He's made a commitment to serve the nation. The political considerations and the political infightings must not at any point interrupt him in delivering on his mandate to us as citizens.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed you there, but I think if I get the crux of what you're saying, look, it would be quite a distortion of reality to separate the president of the country from his political party, because the system that we have in the country, it's a political system. People who become presidents of South Africa are people who would have been elected by their own parties. Therefore, the stability of any political party is quite important. So this notion that we shouldn't talk about political parties, their stability, it's quite, it's a distorted one. It's one that does not simply understand South African political reality. So
it's not that we shouldn't talk about it, Sibongile. Sorry for coming in there. It's not that we shouldn't talk about it. I think that the point I was making is
we should care less. You are saying we should care less. I'm responding to the notion that we should care less. I think it is quite...
Yeah, let me rephrase that. I'm saying if the political considerations and what happens in this context, the ANC, then are going to disrupt the president and delay some of the progress that he wants to make, that is a problem.
No, the point here is, Clement, a political party has a mandate, has a manifesto that takes it into government. And despite all these challenges that we've had as the ANC, there has not been a disruption of programs. Like I said, if you look at the fact that on the economy we have not been registering quite some successes, but the plans are underway. The pandemic has been, it's not organizational issues per se. It has been the pandemic on the score. But it's important to underscore the fact that the plans, the economic plans to get the economy growing are underway, and they have not been disrupted by the dynamics within the party.
Okay. you make an argument that that which has happened on the president's watch has taken time, but it has resulted in decisions that were in the national interest. But how is him keeping the Minister Zweli Mkhize in the national interest? How is him not appointing a permanent DG, right, at the State Security Agency national interest? I'll repeat that question, Sibongile. I'm saying you've indicated that the president may have taken time, right? But whatever he has done has resulted in decisions that were in the national interest. And I'm giving you a number of examples, like Zweli Mkhize, for instance. How is keeping him in the national interest? How is the president not appointing a permanent DG and delaying that at the State Security Agency in the national interest? Him not having a spokesperson now, right, who can do media interviews during the most crucial time of his presidency. How is that in the national interest?
Look, Clement, we are a country that of the rules of the law. And if you look at what the president has been saying, or the argument that I put across is that if there has been slowness in the decision, it's not because nothing has not been taking place. The point here is that for a president to take decisions, he's got to apply his mind, he's got to consult broadly and to ensure that he's got his facts quite right. Because this notion that we need to reshuffle every time we come across a challenge, it's also not correct. You know, it is important for the president to apply his mind, to gather all the information. There's a lot of information that the president has got to go through, especially when one of his strong cabinet ministers is being accused of malfeasance. And this is not indecision. That's the point I'm making. It's not indecision. It's taking all the facts and ensuring
So sorry, Sibongile, we're out of time, but I really disagree with you there. Of course, when the president faces a challenge where his minister and his comrades have benefited from money that government has, they've looted funds from the health department, yes, the president must reshuffle. What consideration does he need to make? If the SIU report, which we now have details of through that affidavit by the SIU in the special tribunal, if he has gone through the parts that the nation has read through that affidavit, how does he justify thinking he can make other considerations? There's the evidence, as clear as that, and yet you still continue with the minister who's on special leave, drawing up a salary that's paid for by us as taxpayers, even after how he benefited, his family benefited from corruption.
I think the country has to give President Ramaphosa the benefit of doubt that the information he's exposed to is not necessarily the only information that the public is exposed to. And any leader, quite frankly, especially the state president, is not only subjected to an affidavit when it comes to members of cabinet and a range of things. And I think that is where we need to also draw the line. The other thing that we must also appeal to the public is that, you know, at every point when there is a difficulty, we shouldn't be throwing the book of reshuffling and so on. The president of the ANC has actually is faced with a situation where he has to gather all the facts. So we're not going to change or encourage the president to reshuffle willy-nilly and so on. All facts have been gathered, and President Ramaphosa has insisted that there will be accountability and consequence management on every aspect that his cabinet or anybody faces.
Yeah, Sibongile, let me thank you. We're out of time. I do think, though, that we're not just talking about any difficulties here. Corruption is not just a difficulty, it's corruption. And the lack of failure by security forces is not just a difficulty, is actually quite serious.
Unfortunately,
because we're sitting here.
It's unfortunate. You
can come in. No, it's all right. You can come in. But the point I'm making is, Sibongile, the point I'm making is, we're talking. I've given you the example of the health minister, Zweli Mkhize. That's not just a mere difficulty. That's corruption. That's serious. It needs the president's urgent attention. And we're talking also about.
It's a mere
Well, you said when we're facing difficulties, you said when we're facing difficulties,
yes,
we can't go to reshuffle. And I'm saying to you, I've given you examples. So I don't know which things you're referring as difficulties, but the examples I've given you is one. Hold on, let me finish the point. The examples I've given you is Zweli Mkhize's corruption is not a difficulty. The state security agencies failing in the way that they did and the president acknowledging it, that's not a difficulty. That's a serious thing that has led to this country losing over 300 lives.
Does it mean when I say something is not it's a difficulty, it's not serious? Is that what you are implying, Clement?
No.
If I say something is a difficulty, does it mean I don't mean it's not serious?
No, I feel you are undermining the importance of it when you say any difficulty we face doesn't lead to a reshuffle. And I'm saying it should. When you are dealing with a case of corruption, when you are dealing with ministers that have failed in their portfolios in the security cluster.
No, the point I was trying to make, Clement, or that I'm trying to make, is that when facts are put before the president does not only deal with facts that the public is exposed to. Okay. Therefore, he needs to apply his mind to a range of issues. It's not that one undermines public opinion, but you balance. Any leader in an organization balances what obtains publicly and what he is exposed to.
All right, Sibongile, I'm in trouble. We're out of time. Thank you so much for making time. Sibongile Besani, the head of the presidency in the ANC. Still to